Hi, welcome to Lynn's Recipes. Today I'm going to make some sweet potato biscuits. The amounts of the ingredients that you're going to need to make the biscuits will be listed in the information box below, or you can find it on the website. The ingredients are: you'll need some all-purpose flour, softened butter, sweet potato puree, and this is from a can, but if you can't find the can, you can always just boil some sweet potatoes after you've peeled them and cut them into cubes and make your own puree in your blender food processor. You'll need some baking powder and salt, milk, sugar, and to brush on the tops of the biscuits before we bake them, you'll need some melted butter. You also need to preheat your oven to 450 degrees, and you'll need a baking dish, and I've put parchment paper on mine. You could also spray it with cooking spray. I have my flour in this big bowl. I'm going to add the sugar, the baking powder, and the salt, and I'm just going to whisk this together to blend. And now we're going to set this aside and move on to some of the other ingredients. Into this bowl, I'm going to add my sweet potato puree and my softened butter. And I'm just going to take my fork and mash this all together. It's easy to do since the butter is soft. Okay, this is mixed together. Now I'm going to add this to the flour mixture. I'm going to put my sweet potatoes and butter in the flour mixture. And use my pastry cutter, and I'm just going to start cutting all this together. We're looking for a soft dough. I'm going to add a little bit of this milk. I'm just going to try to do about a tablespoon at a time because I don't know if I'm going to need it all, and just continue to cut this all together with my pastry blender. This looks really good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this out on my counter that I floured, and we're just going to toss it around and get ready to cut the biscuits out. So I've put my dough out on my floured counter, and I've just kind of been patting a little bit more flour in it so it's easy to work with. Put a little bit more on. And I'm just going to pat this out until about it's a ½ inch thick. Now, depending on what size cutter you use will depend on how many biscuits that you get. I have this size, so mine will be a little bit bigger. And I'm going to put a little bit of flour on this dish here. And I'm going to dip my cutter in, and then I'm just going to start cutting my biscuits and putting them on my parchment paper. And now I'm just going to put this back together and pat it back out and continue on. Okay, so that's the last biscuit. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take some melted butter, and I'm just going to brush the top of all of the biscuits. And like I said, if you use a smaller cutter, you'll get more biscuits out of your recipe. Okay, so now these will go into a preheated 450 degree oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. My sweet potato biscuits cooked for 15 minutes. I've just taken them out of the oven, and now I'm going to put them on a serving platter. These would be really good too if you wanted to split them open and put country ham in them and serve them like that. But I'm actually going to serve mine with the cinnamon honey butter that I made in a previous upload, and I'll link that video down below with the recipe. So, okay, these are sweet potato biscuits. I hope you enjoy them.